Capital News tonight. University of Dodoma awards President Dr. John Pombe Magufuli with an honorary doctorate in science. TRC underway to resume cargo train services between Tanga and Kilimanjaro region. And in sports, Tanzania Professional Boxing Regulatory Authority confirms the fight between Tanzanian Hassan Watkyn and Arnie Tinampe from Philippines on November 29th. Good evening, this is Capital News at 9:30. My name is Khadija Zimbwe. First, the national news. President Dr. John Magufuli has directed universities and higher learning institutions to conduct research on agendas which focus on the development vision and the industrial economy plan, particularly in agriculture, livestock and fisheries sectors, so as to enable the country to make rapid development by using local natural resources and experts. President Dr. Magufuli gave the directive after he was awarded the honorary doctorate in science at the University of Dodoma at the university's 10th graduation ceremony. Awarding Dr. John Pombe Magufuli, the President of the United Republic of Tanzania, a degree of Doctor of Science of University of Dodoma.
Angalieni namna tafiti zenu zinavyoweza kusaidia utekelezaji.
Research are meant to solve problems. Find ways on how your research will support national development plan. Find challenges and answers facing different producers like farmers, livestock keepers, fishermen, miners and industries.
Hivyo basi pamoja na mafanikio tuliyopata.
Apart from all things that have been achieved in the country, more challenges arose every now and then by unscrupulous people.
Kutokana na gharama kuwa kubwa, Mheshimiwa Rais,
from high operation costs, Honorable President, we are calling on the government to help us in construction of this building and other several buildings at the university, as well as renovating the Chimwaga building.
Pamoja na ukarabati wa jengo hili la Chimwaga.
A resident now, okay, let's move on with the next story. Tanzania Railway Corporation has started the process to resume cargo train services after rains destroyed rail infrastructure connecting Tanga and Kilimanjaro regions last month. This was said by the manager of transportation from TRC, Ramadan Gumbo, during a meeting called by Tanga Region Commissioner, attended by local and foreign business people. Next week, the bridge in Muheza will be complete. However, it is good transport cargo fast at affordable costs. I am a citizen of this country since 1970s, but personally, and my entire family, as well as suffering from being recognized as Tanzanians whenever we travel across borders. Now, a resident from Sakishario Konga area in Dar es Salaam, identified as Agostino Mwenga, has died after falling into rainwater when he was trying to rescue his belongings in rainwater which had flooded his house. A resident in the area said whenever it rains, floods occur due to the rail construction project, which has caused rainwater to flow into their residences.
If this is the government project, it must focus on the infrastructure. We've spoken to the engineers about this, but they don't do anything. It has reached a point whereby the situation is now out of hand. And if the government is removing people, they should remove us too, so they can carry on with their project. The problem began when the construction started on the electric railway. We've been to the local government office. They came, but nothing is changed. There is this old gentleman who collapsed out of shock when he saw a lot of water cascading. What I'm asking the government is to help us. We've spoken so much about this, but we are getting no help.
The Director General of the National Identification Authority, NIDA, Dr. Arnold Kihaule, has arrived in Morogoro region as directed by President Dr. John Magufuli to address challenges raised by the residents on the national ID registration exercise, which have caused congestion of people at the NIDA office. President Dr. John Magufuli gave the directive yesterday when addressing residents of Morogoro while on his way to Dodoma.
We have agreed with the strategies and they will begin to be implemented immediately. I want to tell all registration officers in the district to ensure they distribute the national registration numbers and cards on ward, village and street level. In Morogoro, there are about 17,400 IDs in the region that are in wards, villages, and local government offices. So people should go and check if their cards are there, and if so, they should take them. Hello, I'm in Morogoro, and I've been told of a problem with NIDA. You only have one office throughout the region. Why? I direct you to leave Dar es Salaam and come to Morogoro to solve this NIDA issue. I do not want people in the districts to have to come to the headquarters and spend up to 3 days here. If you do that, then pay for their accommodation and food.
The government has called on Tanzanians to be patient as efforts continue to ensure gas is distributed in residential areas for domestic purposes. This was said in Dar es Salaam by the Assistant Commissioner of Gas from the Ministry of Energy when launching a book on governing of petroleum resources, prospects and challenges in Tanzania, which features research by policy research for development report.
Kama serikali tutaendelea kushirikiana.
As the government, we would continue working with various institutions in the country to develop this natural resource in gas. The book launched today is about the management of gas and oil sector. As you know, Tanzania is one of a few countries which has discovered natural gas. Therefore, we saw it fit to carry out a research in the management of this resource aimed at escaping from mistakes done by other countries. So this research gives a guide to the government and other stakeholders, including the private sector, on how to manage this sector for positive results.
Conservators at Mpanga Kipengere Game Reserve in Wanging'ombe and Makete districts in Njombe region have discovered new tourism attractions which include waterfalls at Kimani River and historical caves at Ikoga and Ikovo areas. Due to the recent discoveries, the government has been rehabilitating road infrastructure to enable more tourists visit the sites.
Kivutio kilichokuwa kinajulikana ndani ya hifadhi ya Mpanga Kipengere ilikuwa ni yale maporomoko ya Kimani.
The waterfalls and caves were some of the major attractions, but since last October, the number of waterfalls has increased and 2 additional caves. A path is under construction on this side. Once completed, it is our hope that tourists will be able to walk along this path with no difficulty. But there will be resting places for walkers. What the government should do through TAWA is to improve the infrastructure, because it becomes easier to guide tourists.
Kwa sababu miundombinu ya barabara inapokuwa mizuri.
And Tanzania Atomic Energy Commission has started radiation screening on commercial crops which are exported out of the country, such as coffee, in order to protect the health of consumers. This is said by the head of Technical and Radiation Prevention, Dennis Mwalongo, in Moshi when addressing buyers at a coffee auction.
It is extremely important to weigh the produce. If we fail to do so, it can hurt our market. Our coffee will not sell. No one would want to buy it. The use of atomic helps in checking the quality of coffee and whether it meets set standards. There is organic and non-organic coffee, and organic coffee has set standards and is very expensive. And the quality of the coffee beans must be verified at point of sale. Price of coffee has gone down when we invest so much in farming. So the 2,200 price is a big problem to the farmers, forcing a lot of farmers to despair.
And that is the end of national news. International news follows shortly. And in international news, the commander of United Nations Organization Stabilization Mission in Democratic Republic of Congo, MONUSCO, in Beni, has been airlifted by helicopter from his base after protesters attacked the UN office. The protesters are demanding for the UN to leave after failing to restore peace in Beni. The protests come a day after 12 people were killed by ADF rebels.
Within the government, there are people killing us, and within the government, there are people fighting for us. The government needs to look into this, or we will all be finished. We do not see what MONUSCO is doing. If they cannot do the job, they should just resign before the population is lost.
As the government in Kenya continues with the eviction operation against illegal squatters in Mau Forest, the evictees have opened a case against the government at Africa's Human Rights Commission, whose headquarters are in Banjul, Gambia. The Ministry of Environment has continued to reiterate that all illegal squatters must leave Mau Forest as they are hindering forests to save the forest ecosystem.
We were concerned about the disturbing specter of human dislocation in Mau perpetrated by the Kenya state that we believe has traumatized thousands of innocent Kenyans, especially for us, the school-going children, women, and the aged. Therefore, on the 30th September of 2019, this year, for us and a group of lawyers who still have ability to weep at the face of injustice, we lodged a legal complaint with the African Commission on Human and People's Rights based in Banjul, the Gambia. This is the premier Africa Union institution charged with protecting human rights on the continent. Our complaint number, if you go even to the website, is 735/19, which was lodged by myself, Dr. Duncan Ojuang.
Prominent rights activist has been shot dead in Somalia's capital, Mogadishu, with security officials suggesting she was hit by a stray bullet. Almas Elman Ali, who came from a leading family of peace campaigners, was traveling by a car inside the heavily fortified airport compound when she was hit on Wednesday. It is not clear who is responsible for Ali's killing, with the Somali police force saying investigations into the incident are continuing. That is the end of international news. Business news follows shortly after this break.
Watch Business Edition as we talk to business leaders and experts in sectors that are transforming Tanzania's economy.
To be rich, I have to be a business person.
It's not an easy road at all.
People need to understand. You must quickly think, how cost effective are you going to be?
Business acts as a way in which it can bridge that gap.
Business Edition will keep you informed on latest developments in the financial sector, extractive industry, tourism, agriculture, energy, construction, and so much more. Meet entrepreneurs who create employment opportunities. Watch Business Edition on Friday at 8:15 p.m.
Welcome back, and in business news tonight. The government has called on financial institutions to take their services to people in rural areas, particularly farmers who need loans with low interest rates, which will enable them to benefit from farming activities and contribute to the country's economic growth.
Serikali kwa upande wake inaendelea kuchukua hatua mbalimbali kurasimisha.
The government is continuing to take various steps to formalize resources and businesses, including provision of IDs to small-scale entrepreneurs, with the aim being to bring them into the formal system so that they can fully participate in the growth of the economy. Financial institutions should make sure they provide services that will enable those in the non-formal sector to be joined to the formal financial system. This meeting normally is held every 2 to 3 years so that an evaluation can be made on the contribution of financial institutions in the country's economy and to look at the challenges the financial sector goes through and how to resolve them.
The government of France expects to meet various stakeholders from the private sector from African countries to discuss on issues concerning proper management of natural resources and sustainable cities development for economic growth at Africa-France Summit to be held in Bernabeu early next year.
His residence was very concrete. You know, he wants, he said, I will use this format of summit, it will be the 20th one, but I will do it on an issue that is of major concern for Africa, for everybody, not only public authorities and governments, but as well the citizens. So because there is exponential development of the to find solutions,
about to create and to inaugurate of boosting the relationship. Will now explain to you his targets and the views of a French president to prepare this important and, I would say, major international.
Now, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and East Africa Cooperation, Professor Paul-Magamba Kabudi, has called on the business community in the country to use opportunities in various sectors, such as agriculture and industries, with their counterparts in Oman in order to strengthen cooperation between the two countries. He made the statement in Dar es Salaam during the occasion to mark 49th anniversary of Oman under the leadership of
filled with tremendous hope and promise for a better future Oman has achieved in a span of just a few decades. His Majesty Sultan Qaboos bin Said Al Said.
With continued supporting of the development process, the government dedicates itself to implementing several plans and programs in order to achieve the goal of economic diversification by opening more investment area and at the same time completing mega infrastructure projects and entering into trade agreements with regional and international blocs.
And that is the end of business news. Sports news follows up next after the break. We'll be right back.
Away first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment of going away. Gay trying to go with him, and he's being dragged through to second place, but he's going to win it by 2 meters. Away first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment of going away. Gay trying to go with him, and he's being dragged through to second place, but he's going to win it by 2 meters. Watkyn, he did lose to Lynn.
Welcome back, and in sports news tonight, young Africans will face JKT Tanzania tomorrow in a Premier League game without players who played in the national team Taifa Stars game against Libya in the AFCON game, as they have been given a few days break.
Among the regulations we have put is to have payments of all boxers, and the Hall of Fame company has presented the payment on 20th of November. So we are giving the permit to allow the fight to take place. We have made follow-up on Tinampai. He's a good boxer. He has never lost through a KO or a TKO.
Tanzania Professional Boxing Regulatory Authority (TPBRC) has confirmed the fight between Tanzanian Hassan Watkyn and Arnie Tinampai from Philippines will take place on November 29th at the Uhuru Stadium in Dar es Salaam.
The game will be played tomorrow on Friday at 4 p.m. at the Uhuru Stadium. Both players that were injured, defenders Lamin Moro and Ali, are well, and they were in training this morning, as well as Muhammad Issa Banka, who has not been in the squad for a while.
Liverpool's plans to extend the capacity of Anfield beyond 60,000 will take another step forward this week, Goal can confirm. Here are more details.
5,000 leaflets have been distributed by the club, inviting local residents and businesses to a series of public consultation events where the Reds will share their plans for an ambitious proposed redevelopment of the Anfield Road stand. Liverpool announced in August that they had scrapped initial plans for an upgrading of the Anfield Road and outlined planning permission for the addition of around 4,000 extra seats was allowed to lapse, with club owners Fenway Sports Group revealing its plan to explore alternative development options. They are now in a position to share those alternative plans, and Goal understands that they will involve a redevelopment which takes Anfield's capacity above 60,000.
Barcelona have made Lautaro Martinez and Erling Braut Haaland their primary summer transfer targets as the Camp Nou outfit search for a successor to Luis Suarez. Here are more details.
Suarez is closing in on the twilight of his career, and the Blaugrana are keen to secure a long-term replacement during the summer of 2020, with no backup currently in Ernesto Valverde's squad. Goal has learned that Lautaro and Haaland have emerged as the primary targets, with both having enjoyed fine starts to the 2019-2020 campaign. After being promoted to the starting 11 following Mauro Icardi's departure, Argentina international Lautaro has been in superb form for Inter, scoring 8 goals and providing 3 assists in 16 matches across all competitions. Such performances have led to Inter opening talks with the forward's agent regarding a contract renewal, despite his current deal running until 2023.
And Harry Redknapp believes that Tottenham will achieve a top 4 finish with Jose Mourinho in charge, and claims anything less would be a disaster after the club given the money spent on their new training ground and stadium.
Spurs manager Mourinho was appointed less than a day after the news that Mauricio Pochettino had been sacked following a 5-year stint in charge in North London. Mourinho has now reduced the 11-point gap. Spurs seek to add their lucrative Champions League campaigns in the last 4 seasons. No team with so few points after 12 games in the Premier League, which is 14, has gone on to record a top 4 finish. Nonetheless, former Spurs boss Redknapp believes that Mourinho can overcome that hurdle and keep a talented squad in Europe's elite competition.
And that sports item ends our news bulletin for tonight. My name is Khadija Zimbo. Thank you for watching and good night.
Away first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment and going away. Gay trying to go with him, and he's going to be dragged through to second place, but he's going to win it by 2 meters. Away first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment and going away. Gay trying to go with him, and he's going to be dragged through to second place, but he's going to win it by 2 meters. Watkyn, he did lose to Lynn.
On the decor this week, what does it take for you to have a modern Swahili home? And not just a modern with the touch of the Swahili traditions.
I think the essence of a modern Swahili home is blending elements such as metal, steel, dark colors with stuff like wood, vibrant prints, and our own pieces.
Having things at your home is not just about having things, it's about creating memories. Join us on Saturday at 7:30 p.m. on your favorite channel, Capital TV.
This is Captured. Thank you so much for having joined us today. With me, my usual amazing co-hosts. I have Khadija Zimbo here and Sebastian Koloa. And I know that Seba, you're excited sana this weekend because of Taifa Stars win over Equatorial Guinea. which was a 2-1 victory to Tanzania. Kwa hiyo Seba, najua ulitaka tuongelee kidogo kuhusiana na this win for Taifa Stars.
Well, as a matter of fact, natamani tuongelee sana.
Feel free.
Yeah, but kwa sababu ya setting na content ambayo tunayo leo na vitu vingi zaidi pia. Lakini kwa kifupi tu ni kwamba Taifa Stars tayari wamekwenda kucheza mchezo mwingine ambao watacheza dhidi ya Libya, lakini mchezo huu utachezwa Tunisia. But going back to the game, we're really happy about the game. And unajua kinachofurahisha zaidi kuhusu mpinzani wako ni anapokasirika akifungwa. Yaani hiyo ndio inafurahisha zaidi. Sababu kocha wao alikasirika akasema kwamba ile last goal ilikuwa ilikuwa sio fair play kwa sababu mchezaji wao alikuwa amelala chini. But nimependa sana kocha wa Tanzania alivyojibu hilo swala kwamba yule kocha alikuwa na matatizo yake kwa sababu yeye sio refa wala nini. So at the end of the day we're happy for the 3 points. How it works ni kwamba kunakuwa na group inakuwa na timu 4, sisi tuna timu sisi na timu zingine 3. Kwa kwenye michezo ya kwanza hasa ya nyumbani, it's very important to win. So that was a very important win for the whole of Tanzania. Kwa hiyo naamini wa Tanzania wote watakuwa wamefurahi na we on to the next one. Tunaendelea kushangilia timu yetu, tukienda huko hata tukipata hata sare tu. Mambo yanakuwa.
It means that we'll be moving forward.
It means a lot, we'll be moving forward if we can get as many points as possible, especially at home.
Yes.
So ilikuwa nzuri sana, ilikuwa siku nzuri. Nafikiri ilikuwa weekend nzuri sana kwa Watanzania wote.
Absolutely.
Lakini pia timu yetu ya wanawake ya Kilimanjaro Stars na yeye imeanza vizuri kwa kweli, imewafunga Sudan bao 9-0.
9?
Yeah, bao 9-0. Tukumbuke hawa ni mabingwa watetezi. They're the reigning champions. So they had to start with a huge kick.
Na nguvu ya kutosha.
Kuonyesha kwamba wameanza na kishindo.
Awesome. So, well, that's Sports Brief from Sebastian. As you know, he hosts Sports Gazette. Ni kipindi cha michezo ambacho kinaruka Capital Television. Na sasa tunaongelea story ambazo zili make headlines rather hapa nyumbani this week. Former President Benjamin Mkapa ameandika kitabu chake My Life, My Purpose. Ambacho the day actually the book was sort of like there was a meeting whereby Honorable President officiated that meeting also to let people know what the book is all about. So I'd like to start with Hadija. What did you think about the book, just from what we had with regards to the news brief that we got?
Okay, so the first thing is, since you're a journalist, so the first thing is the title of the book, My Life, My Purpose.
Yes.
Once it comes to life, it's about purpose. When you live your life, you need to know that lazima ujue ni nini sababu ya kuishi kwako. Kwa hiyo, the name of the book itself is very exciting kwa sababu you're gonna see, we're expecting to see the other side of Benjamin Mkapa that we don't know. Na hata ambavyo ameelezea kidogo, it shows kwamba itakuwa very exciting. Kuna story nyingi ambazo sio kile kitabu ambacho utaona kwamba yani alianza akafika akaenda akarudi akawa rais akamaliza akatoka and that's it. But there is more people involved in the book. It's exciting. But what's the best part is the publishers. Kuki na Nyota wanasema this has never happened before. Wametengeneza 1,000 copies and they were all finished within 12 hours. And this was the very first president who actually launched a book. So ni kitu ambacho ni kigeni, ni kipya, the vibe is big and we cannot wait for the next 3 weeks. Na sisi wengine tupate nafasi ya kununua na kusoma.
Absolutely. Seba, nakumbuka nilivyokuwa nasikiliza hiyo hotuba ya former president. Alivyokuwa anaelezea baadhi ya vitu ambavyo vilitokea during his watu walivyovichukulia, the way they humane kidogo ya kibinadamu ambayo mimi I never expected that from Honorable former President Benjamin Mkapa. Kwako wewe, unadhani kwamba kitabu hiki kita maybe redeem in some areas ambapo watu kidogo walikuwa wanamshambulia, because this is one former president ambaye ameshambuliwa sana, and it actually used to break my heart kwamba watu they would have such level of disrespect. Kwa hiyo unadhani kidogo ametusogeza kwake? Maybe through this book watu wataweza kumuelewa kidogo former President Mkapa.
Okay, kama alivyoeleza, my life, my purpose. Kwamba it doesn't matter how you think about it, but it's my life. So that's one of the things. Lakini kitu cha pili ni kwamba unajua kuna tatizo moja kubwa kwamba so many people don't understand the meaning of leadership, especially a country leadership, like people leadership. Sio achana na okay, leadership ya watu, kiwa unaongoza watu. Mimi ninavyofahamu ni kwamba leadership is a good leader does the best for their people without them knowing. Like when they're sleeping at home, he makes sure that they sleep without them knowing. Hana haja ya kuambia kwamba I'm helping you out, because that's a leader. So nafikiri sasa hivi kwa sababu ameshaondoka anaweza kusema sasa vile vitu ambavyo alivifanya akiwa leader, but ni vizuri kwamba hakuvisema wakati anavifanya. Kwa sababu that will be boasting. That will not be a leader. Yeye kwa kujisifia na sio kuwa kiongozi.
Anajimwamba fine.
Sasa.
You got that?
Sasa. Kwa hiyo inakuwa haina maana. Kwa lakini mimi nimependa kitabu chake kwamba kinaeleza hayo yote na katika mfumo wa story, sio katika mfumo wa elimu, katika mfumo wa story. Kitu kingine watu wengi wanasema kwa nini mambo anayosema saizi hakuyasema kipindi kile. Maybe he sat down and thought about it na akaona kwamba hayakwenda vizuri. Huwezi kuniambia kwamba wewe kila kitu unachokifanya saizi miaka 5 iliyopita ulikuwa unakiamini. Na vingine ulikuwa uviamini.
Inachukua muda wa reflection kidogo kuona.
Kwamba amesema kwa mfano alisema vitu kama free and fair kuwe na watu labda hajui kama inahitajika.
Sema usisahau kwamba he's a lot older kiumri.
Exactly.
Old people wanaweza kusema chochote. Yani they have nothing to lose.
Bits ndogo ndogo, inatakiwa vitu vibaki vichache tu. Nusu ya kitabu tayari.
Bits and pieces. Mtu anaweza thoughts akasema basi kitabu chenyewe kinahusu hiki. Wakati kuna mambo So if you want to know the status HIV, unaweza ukajidunga and then you can self-test yourself. Unaweza kujitest wewe. Niliposikia hivi, I was scared because nakumbuka when I was pregnant with my first baby. Ukienda hospitali they have to HIV test you and your partner. Na usually kabla ya kuwa tested kuna yule nesi anakuelezea we're just checking baby